Yeah, let's talk about Caicedo to Chelsea. It looks like that's gonna happen now after the move to Liverpool fell apart. What are your thoughts on that? Like,
So I just want to say first and foremost that I brought that name up to you last year, like early last year.
Yeah,
like I felt like I was pretty early on that. First and foremost, I was early on that Brighton wave.
Yeah,
I have for a long time been liking Brighton, and I'm glad to see that they're shining and have such a healthy.
Brighton is kind of like the Middlesbrough right now, just producing.
Bro, it's amazing talent, right? They have a super sustainable business model, and they're doing super well. You know, all credit to them. They're playing in Europa League with us. As it stands with just Caicedo, bro. Yeah. As a Liverpool fan, it's like a slap in the face first and foremost. I understand that it's coming from a respectful point, right? Quotation marks. I think that it's really like this team of agents, which really seems to be a common thing with players from Latino America. As much like it pains me to say, is they get fed like bad advice from agents.
Yeah,
right? Like this dude apparently has a big group of agencies that have been managing his career, which Brighton themselves have been like, hey, he's being fed bad information.
Yep.
And so it's like kind of a known thing. It's a slap in the face because Liverpool are a bigger club than Chelsea. I'm not saying that as like a matter of opinion.
100%.
It's just like it's a fact.
It's
fact. Right.
The two biggest clubs in England is United and Liverpool.
Right.
Like bar none.
Exactly. They're just two of the biggest teams in Europe and Liverpool one of the biggest teams in Europe in general.
Yeah.
So I think that it sucks for it to come out, but at the same time, it sucks that it has happened. Right. Yeah. It sucks that it happened. You got an agreement with the club and the player decides, no.
Nah, I'm good.
At the same time, though, Liverpool have nobody to blame but themselves. They could have had this wrapped up in January.
Right.
They had negotiations ongoing with Brighton in January. They weren't willing to pay the $60 million to get him. Now, I think there was an initial plan in place for them to buy him, loan him out, get him back.
Yeah.
Right? So that he can close the season with Brighton.
Right.
And then come and start with us. 60 million, 70 million.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go set the British transfer record at 111 million for the same player.
Yeah.
This is all on Liverpool's ownership.
And especially last year, you look back, they were dying for help in the midfield
this has been an ongoing issue for years now where people have pointed out our midfield is now on old legs.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we're talking about Leeds. Like their style of play is not sustainable. It ran its course with Gini Wijnaldum. It ran its course with Jordan Henderson. It ran its course with Fabinho. There should have been a telltale sign that we needed the players. It goes on the ownership 100%. It goes on our transfer, like our business policy. As much as it pains me, it goes on Jurgen Klopp also. Because last year, before the season started, we were banging our fists on the table as fans that watch this team week in and week out saying, hey,
help.
we are just the amateur eye. We're telling you, I think you need another midfielder. I'm not saying this because, we need a bigger squad. No, I'm saying it because it killed us on the back end of the season beforehand.
Yeah.
We need more bodies in midfield. And he comes to us, the public, the fans, and he says, we don't need more midfielders.
Yeah.
That is
that.
And
it's asinine.
The funniest thing, really, it's not that funny. Fabinho goes down, Thiago goes down, Hendo goes down.
Yep.
It was an absolute issue across the board. The year before that, it was center backs. The last season was midfielders. There's just an issue with the overall depth of players.
Yeah.
That also stems from investment. That's why I'm saying it falls on the owners. I know
on
Liverpool
LeBron
fans.
How does this affect LeBron's legacy?
It affects it big time, actually. I think more than anything, though, I'm so infuriated with the Liverpool ownership. I know that there's a lot more Liverpool fans that are always just angry with the ownership, right?
Yeah.
That they expect. At the end of the day, these are business owners that want to turn a profit on the money that they've invested. I understand that. I totally understand that part of it. It just sucks that last season we were outspent by 90% of the league.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest spent more money than we did last season.
Yeah.
And that's Nottingham Forest, right?
Yeah.
Like, no disrespect to them, but they spend over $100 million in transfer. And meanwhile,
Morgan Gibbs White.
We're going knocking on the door like, I know your player valuation is $20 million. I'm willing to throw you 12.
Yeah.
Please. Yeah. Like,
help me out.
No, but it's so infuriating. The way that we approach transfers is just so bad. And the Caicedo situation, as much as it falls on Caicedo, it falls on Liverpool. We waited for the last 2 weeks of the transfer window to get this business done.
Yeah.
Chelsea have been doing this for months. So I understand from his perspective, he's just like, this team has been courting me for a long time. They really want me. That's why I want to go to them, because they've shown me much more love. I can appreciate the fact that Liverpool come and try to sign him within 2 days.
Yeah.
But there was no legwork to the same regard that it was for Chelsea.
Right.
It sucks. It really does suck. I'm rooting the worst for him now. But the reality is, I think he's...
And his family.
I won't go that far, you know? But I do think he's a quality player. He is going to really help that Chelsea midfield that can use it. He's going to run forever, which really just stings as a Liverpool fan, because it's exactly... From last year, I've been saying we can use this player. We need this player, because I watch almost all these games, bro.
Right.
I don't say that it's hyperbole.
I'm a Premier League whore.
I am, I do tricks for the Premier League, right? And so I watch so many games. I watch so many players, and I'm not a scout or anything like that, but I would like to think that I know players that would fit our system just off the naked eye.
Right.
And clearly, I did, because I was banging the table last year.
Yeah.
Like, Liverpool need to sign this guy.
Yep.
It just sucks the way this whole thing has unfolded. It makes you feel like a small club, which I know for a fact that we're not.
Right.
And now we just need to figure out what the business is after this. Bro.
Okay, so what do you think they do with that 111? You think I
don't think they're gonna do a damn thing with it.
You think they're just gonna we tried to put it in our back pocket again?
Because there's no player that's available on the market at that position that is proven quality to play like week in, week out, crazy minutes at the Premier League level.
Okay,
there's just nobody at that. So
how do you feel about Tyler Adams?
I would take him at the team. But that's a drop off from Fabinho.
Yeah.
Right? He runs a lot. Yes, I would take him at the team for sure.
Yeah.
And for me too, it'd be easier to root for him.
Some new lungs.
Yeah. I mean, granted, he is just coming off injury too, which is like a point of concern for myself because like our midfield is constantly injured. The freaking medical room.
Yeah.
But I really think at this point you were willing to throw 111 at Caicedo. I think that you should just have paid the 50 million for Romeo Lavia already. I think there's a lot of potential with him. I don't think he's a solid product yet.
Yeah.
But I do think in a season, he can be a great player. But again, there's just nobody available that can go and slot in and do a job right now, which is why the Caicedo situation hurts the way that it does.
Right. And the Bellingham.
That was the other point of frustration that, like, for me, I think inevitably he was going to end up choosing Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Right? I do think that was inevitable because, I mean, bro,
he wanted to.
They're arguably the biggest club in the world, right?
It's not that arguable.
There's a small argument that could be had. I mean, it's really 4 teams.
Okay, who?
It's Liverpool, Barcelona, Man United, Real Madrid. Those 4 teams, and depending on the day,
stand above all of them.
Yeah, they've won the most. They've won the most Champions League. You know, I'm not like that's not lost on me, right? Absolutely. But I do think that talk about like who the biggest team is, it ebbs and flows depending on how the teams are doing right now.
Yeah,
Man City just aren't there yet. Granted, how great they are because their fan base isn't there. But when all these teams are rocking and they're rolling on all cylinders, whoever is doing the best out of those 4 teams is the biggest club in the world, and it ebbs and flows. I think as it stands right now, it's not lost on me to say the Madrid are the bigger team. There's a bigger allure of the 4 teams. They're the most recent team to win a Champions League and have European success, and their midfield is set for a decade. If Bellingham is going to stay that long, I personally think that he's going to be there 5-6 years at Real Madrid, and then he inevitably comes to the Premier League because he's an English player.
Right.
I'm just so upset at the fact that we dropped out of the race before he had made his decision to go to Madrid. Again, inevitably, that's probably going to happen. Yeah. But we could have at least made it a little interesting. Yeah. Especially if there was $111 million
just sitting around.
Bro, just sitting what? We could have used that money exponentially across the board in so many different ways, in so many different positions. That's why I was just so shocked that it just kind of came out of
nowhere, dude.
I was just like, bro, where has this money been? We've been begging for investment, and clearly it's there. But like, it's just I just don't know where they go from here, and it just sucked to not be involved deeper in that Bellingham race. We'll see what happens. I think he's gonna absolutely kill it. Yeah, it just sucks because I know we had been doing so much legwork, And we decided to pull out before he had made his decision, which was to me like the stupidest part about that, especially seeing that they're willing to launch 111 million on Caicedo. It just sucks.
Yeah.
It just goes back down to bad transfer business, bad transfer policy, and just a lack of ambition from the ownership. They just across the board for years now. That's the most frustrating part about being a Liverpool fan, for sure.
I think it comes in waves, right? Because like what they broke the goalkeeper record, broke the center back record.
Yeah.
Then they go a little bit like, you know, by the wayside. They don't really spend.
Yeah,
and then they try to do another big one, like right now by Caicedo.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like they do make some big splashes, but then they kind of like they're like
yeah,
here.
Exactly.
They're like
exactly.
here. Like
Darwin Nunez was a big splash last season,
yeah.
right? Like he hasn't gotten up to 85 million because the bonuses haven't been there because he had a rough year last year. Like, you know, you can call a spade a spade. It wasn't a great year.
Right.
He hit 15 goals, but I was expecting him to really bang from the get-go.
lead the front line.
Yeah,
you know?
and I mean, bro, it's crazy the chances that he creates. I'm expecting a really big year from him this year, but I just wanted to touch on the goalkeeper and center back thing. That only happened because they sold Coutinho. They aren't willing to splash this money regularly.
With nothing coming in.
That's why this Caicedo one really just blew my mind.
Like, where did the funds come from? Yeah.
Just
But
so
the
infuriating.
Coutinho ended up being a really good
The
flip.
best piece of business that Liverpool have ever done.
Yeah. That was good. Especially because, man, what is he even doing nowadays?
I think he's Saudi or Qatar bound, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's crazy because he was nice.
He was, but it was. Klopp told him it's just like, hey, like stay here, become a legend, or you go over there and just be another player. And he just ended up. He's one of the biggest flops in the history of the sport.
Yeah, and there's no other way to put it.
No other way to put it.